The most important thing to understand when you start drawing an isometric sketch is to understand how the paper works. The paper is set up with lines that are at 30-degree angles. There are lines that run up and down that represent height. There are lines that run from the southwest to the northeast that represent depth, and lines that run from the northwest to the southeast that represent width. And across the whole paper, those lines correspond to those same dimensions, no matter what project you are working on. And in order to draw from there, you have to understand what part of your object is the height of the object, what part of your object is the depth of the object, and what part of your object is the width. So if I have a 3D object here, one of the things that you can do is if you hold it at an angle, you can kind of align the 3 dimensions to what you're about to draw. So in this situation, if I have it sitting here, you're just looking at the top of it, so I'm going to turn it, and you line it up and you figure out where you're going to have your height, your center line for your height, which will be here. So my height is all my up and down lines. Height's pretty easy to figure out, but it's actually the depth and the width that's a little bit harder to keep track of as you're drawing. By starting at the bottom of the drawing, you can actually follow the different lines with your finger and kind of draw what you can see. Because an isometric sketch is only a drawing of what you actually see when you look at the object kind of positioned like this. You're not going to be able to see this back side or the underneath. You're only going to see these 3 sides. This will be called the front side, this is the right side, and this is the top. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit to allow us to have a little more room to draw the object. Again, I'll kind of come back and forth to this object as we're going, but I'm going to start down again in the front corner, the very furthest down corner. I'm going to start there, and for each cube I'm going to do 2 triangles on my paper. So I'm going to go over 2. Now again, this represents the width as I go this direction. So I'll do 4 triangles. Okay. And then from there, I'm now at this corner, so I'll go up because this is height, and it's 1 cube, so just 2 triangles. And then from here, I can go 2 different directions. So I'm actually going to go back along the width, 4 triangles. But then I can also do 2 for the depth. Right. I'm going to actually come back to the front corner now, go the other direction. So this is depth. Okay. So again, you're following along, this is depth. From the bottom corner, you're following the lines, doing what you can. So I'm going to trace this around. Alright, so 4, and I'm going to go up and back and then down. So I've now done the front part of this design. I've done this line over here, but I'm going to do this line over here, so that'll be at the green cube. Right, and then on the green cube, we have 3 lines that go up. I'm going to start with these 2 lines on the side. Just 1 cube, so I'll do 2 triangles. And from there, I know that I can do width or depth from those 2 corners. And if I do both the width and the depth from each of those corners, everything will connect. But then I want to come back around to the front here because I also will draw the lines. On an isometric sketch, you draw the lines that represent where there's a 90-degree corner. And the last line remaining is this front line here. You want to define all of the height lines that you can see, and I can see on this design, I can see all 3 height lines here. So 1, 2, 3. And then on the bottom, 1, 2, 3. And I can see that here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.